Thursday, December 16th, 2021 is one of the darkest days for the people of Australia, and especially the 30,000 residents of the city of Devonport and the island state of Tasmania, about 150 miles to the south of the Australian mainland. On that sad day, at around 10 a.m, 5 children aged between 11 and 12 were killed when a large bounce castle ride was blown more than 30 feet high into the air by a sudden, strong wind gust. A 6th child died a few days later in hospital due to injuries sustained in the incident. The whole country was shocked and horrified by the terrifying accident, as everyone struggled to make sense of it. The scene was so heartbreaking, even members of the responding emergency crews needed some counselling. As for the victims' families, it was nothing but a nightmare, and to this day they are still struggling to find answers because the investigation results are being withheld and have not been passed to higher authorities for an official inquest due to complications and the possibility that criminal charges might be brought forward. Stay tuned for all the details of the bouncy inflatable castle incident in Devonport, Tasmania, that killed 6 children and seriously injured another 3. The victims of the incident were 11-year-old Addison Stewart, 12-year-old Zane Mellor, 12-year-old Jye Sheehan, 12-year-old Jalailah Jayne-Maree Jones, 12-year-old Peter Dodt, and 11-year-old Chace Harrison. All of these children were from the local Hillcrest Primary School, celebrating the end of the school year. More than 40 students were present in the park when the disaster struck. To this day, these children and most of the children in Devonport who heard of what happened are still scared of what could happen to them if they took an amusement ride. Many of them still express horror from the mere mention of inflatable bounce castle. All of the innocent victims were described as angels who had a very promising future. Their families are shattered to this day because no one has given them a final answer to what exactly happened that day, and whether it was preventable and if there is someone to blame. The day tragedy struck was supposed to be a happy and fun day to remember for the rest of their lives, as it was a day of celebrating the end of the school year. Everyone, including adults, was happy and excited to see their children grow. The last thing they expected is for a soft, air-filled amusement ride to somehow kill their beloved children. The kids were playing and having a great time inside the large inflatable castle. The weather was also great, but suddenly and out of nowhere, a powerful wind gust struck, causing the bounce castle to go airborne more than 30 feet in the air. It was a scene from hell, as school staff, some families and other children in the park watched the victims fall 30 feet to the ground before the bounce castle came to rest in a tree. All the children began sobbing as the school staff rushed to rescue the injured and stuck children. Within minutes, emergency crews arrived and a helicopter ambulance landed nearby in the school's oval. The emergency crews did their best. They did not spare anything, but they could not save everyone. The children's families were at home as calls began pouring in, informing them of the tragedy at school. They rushed to the scene. Most of the children were fine but suffered from shock and psychological pressure. However, for 8 of the families, life changed forever as they received the horrific news that their children were seriously injured. Soon the news became a nightmare for 5 of the families, as the authorities had to inform them that their children passed away. 5 days later, another family had to endure the pain of hearing that their injured 11-year-old daughter had also passed away. It was truly heartbreaking. Darkness hovered over the city for months. For many members of the community who were not even related to the victims, life in the calm and serene city changed. They simply couldn't cope with the overwhelming sadness that gripped the city. The outpouring of grief came not only from the close-knit Devonport community, but also from people around Tasmania, Australia, and the world. Thousands of people left flowers, cards, and toys outside of the Hillcrest Primary School. The police immediately went to work, and they were mystified because the wind on that day was not strong enough to cause such a disaster. Their immediate goal was to look at whether or not the inflatable was tethered, and whether the inflatable itself met the standard of work-safe requirements. All witnesses who were present at the scene described a sudden emergence of a wind event or powerful gust that led to the incident. The police also got in touch with the nearest weather bureau monitoring at Devonport Airport, which said they didn't record anything out of the ordinary at the time of the incident. They also added that the strongest gust recorded at the airport around the time of the incident was only 14 miles per hour, which is considered light wind, but also clarified that the wind gust could have been stronger at the incident location. The initial situation in the immediate aftermath of the incident was messy, because according to a local media report hours after the incident, the inflatable hire company involved went into hiding, removing its website and Facebook page. This piece of information hasn't been confirmed yet. Nevertheless, the police issued a report in which they described a significant local wind event that contributed to the tragic Jumping Castle tragedy. The report stated that the day started as a calm day without any unexpected or abnormal wind activity, but the situation changed dramatically and quickly, with wind speeds going from about 3 miles per hour to as high as 8 miles per hour at the time of the tragedy. They also added that the winds continued to pick up speed during the afternoon, peaking with gusts of more than 15 miles per hour. They also suspected that the wind, which was blowing from the northwest, may have contributed to gustier conditions on the day of the tragedy. The police report was not conclusive nor comprehensive, because experts from the WorkSafe department were still preparing for a more detailed and accurate investigation by consulting internal and external specialized engineers and meteorologists, among others. The most recent news about the investigation indicates that a powerful mini-tornado, a wind devil, lifted the Jumping Castle into the air, resulting in the deaths of 5 children on the castle and 1 child who was waiting in line for an activity. However, there are problems with the detailed final investigation results, which was conducted by the Tasmania WorkSafe department, because in early 2023, it refused to release the results to an inquest because criminal charges might be pressed, and releasing the investigation results could lead to legal complications. Up to this video's date, an inquest into the deaths of the 6 children is unable to begin because the Tasmania State Workplace Safety Regulator, WorkSafe, won't hand over important documents. So far, WorkSafe had refused to pass on its investigation, including expert reports, because it could prejudice the regulator's ongoing investigations. The lawyer representing WorkSafe Tasmania indicated that the reasons for this delay have to do with the fact that the regulator is pursuing the possibility of criminal charges and had asked the director of the public prosecutor for advice. This fact led the coroner to delay the inquest indefinitely because it was unable to progress without the documents, which include engineer and geotechnical reports. Experts predict that the Supreme Court of Tasmania will decide whether the documents can be provided to the coroner as early as April of this year. The families of the victims have also joined the legal battle to pursue WorkSafe to release its findings so that the inquest can proceed forward. Since this incident and other similar ones that occurred in various parts of the world, the famous and beloved inflatable castles that have been a fixture in many happy family-oriented events, including birthday parties, have now become a focus of many safety investigations and regulators. As a result, many experts and amusement rides safety websites have been raising awareness and advocating that children should not be allowed to use the bouncy castle in adverse weather conditions, such as high wind, because such inflatables can easily flip over and cause injury or even death. What do you think of bouncy castles? Is the associated danger over-exaggerated? Let us know in the comment section below. Thank you. Thank you for watching. Make sure to like, share, subscribe, and hit the bell button to get notified every time we upload a new video that will take you to the heart of the scenes and mysteries of some of the most terrifying incidents, accidents, disasters, and paranormal events from around the world.